Hi guys, dan selamat kembali ke Studio Sembang bersama saya Amy. In the studio this week we have a very very special guest. We have the CEO of Sepang International Circuit, Shafriman Hanif, with us. Thank you so much sebab sudi datang meluangkan masa bersama kami.
Thank you for inviting me.
No, I'm so excited to have you here. And kita sebenarnya dah prepare a lot of questions. Sedikit backstory lah kepada kita punya episod hari ni. Sebab saya rasa ramai akan rasa unexpected. Amy sebenarnya membesar pergi ke Sepang International Circuit. And I rasa ramai di luar sana boleh relate. And I think this is going to be such an interesting episode untuk kita semua dapat tahu the inner workings of something that is such a inherent part of Malaysian punya life kan. We go all the time for MotoGP most recently as well. So, tapi kita nak startkan dulu dengan childhood macam biasa to get to know how somebody even becomes the CEO of a circuit, which is crazy. So, how was your childhood?
Trouble.
Trouble. Were you the trouble or the childhood was the trouble?
No, most of the time I was in trouble.
Alamak.
Anyway, well, I grew up in a very regimented family. My father was in the armed forces.
Wow.
He was the Air Force.
Wow.
He was the Air Force pilot last time. He was flying Tun for a good 25, 26 years.
Incredible.
In Air Force One.
Wow.
So he traveled the world with the Prime Minister. My mom was a banker. With Bank Rakyat last time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, growing up, I grew up actually in 𝙀𝙃𝙄𝙎. In 𝙀𝙃𝙄𝙎 camp.
Yeah.
It's now Bandar Malaysia.
Wow.
I grew up there until I was probably around 10, and my dad got transferred to Canberra in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, so I followed him there. Started schooling there when I was in standard 5 and then standard 6. Then I told myself, nah, I have to come back to Malaysia.
Ya, tak boleh kan?
Tak boleh, but I don't know why I said tak boleh.
Okay, what was it?
It was a really good life in Canberra back then. I have two other younger brothers, all boys. We grew up in an all boys family. And I told my dad I want to go back to boarding school. Maybe because he was in Malay College last time, so I wanted to follow his footsteps. Maybe at a point of time, going away from parents looked cool, right? So I opted to go back.
Biasanya terbalik. Going away from parents who are Malaysia, kita akan pergi overseas. Ni balik kepada Malaysia.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right?
Terbalik.
Yeah. So I told my dad that I want to go back. He said, really, you want to go to boarding school? I said, yes, I want to go to boarding school. So I applied few schools, but then again, my dad and my mom wanted me to stay with my late grandma last time in 𝙁𝙗.
Okay.
So I applied for a school somewhere in 𝙁𝙗, Kedah. But I was given the school in Perlis.
Okay.
The school is Sekolah Menengah Tuanku Syed Putra.
Okay.
Or SMTSP, aka Sekolah Menengah Tengah Sawah Padi, TSP. Right,
what
it's really in the middle of a paddy field. Yes, that was in 1990.
How beautiful!
Yes,
wow.
It was beautiful, but I think I regretted the day I stepped in. It was, let me paint you that picture when I was there. It was really really hot in Perlis. Water was a problem.
Oh my gosh.
I was infected with almost all skin diseases when I was there. Yes.
Oh, that I did not see coming. That's the plot twist.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was a rough life from my time from Form 1 until Form 5. But looking back, right, I don't regret it because it shaped the way who I am today. I mean, you throw me anywhere in the world, I can live.
Adaptable.
Growing up, I was always hungry. So I grew up with Maggie mee.
Oh.
So I cook Maggie. So in a really weird way last time, because there was no water heater back then.
Okay.
There was, but the one that you put in the baldi.
Okay.
And then
so you macam manually water heat lah on the stove.
So what happened back then was when we used the water heater, right? It tripped the whole building. And water heater was banned. So we were hungry one of the days, and I told my friend, nah, let's go all in this time, right?
Oh my gosh.
So we put in maybe 10 packets of Maggie mee, open the tap water, let it sit for about 1 hour and a half.
This was satu kampung is going to trip really.
Yeah, so it was a party back then, right?
Wow,
so,
havoc.
but the best part of having Maggi mee in a baldi is you have that additional flavor of Fab and Breeze. True story.
Kenapa Febreze ada? You guys pakai baldi apa? Tak ada baldi untuk makanan, memang tak ada kan?
Tak ada, because that baldi is the baldi that we wash our clothes there, right? So, yeah. So
multitasking.
Multitasking. So going back to the days when I was growing up, we cook, we wash our clothes, we iron our clothes. My dad taught me how to iron clothes. Until today, I iron my own clothes. I do house chores. I do a lot of things that because in my family there's no lady, there's no girl in my family except for my mom, right? So I'm the one out of the three brothers. I'm the one who's supposed to be the lady in the house.
Bertanggungjawab
lah. So it taught me a lot about cleanliness. I clean the house, I vacuum the house, I mop the house, I wash the dishes and so on. So yeah. So that's who I am until today.
But honestly, how fabulous it is to hear of a dude that is raised in this environment. Sebab I think those are the life skills that kita jangan borak pasal gender even. This is becoming more and more useful for every person. We need to be able to, these are basic things.
Yes, basic things.
Yeah, completely and totally. And in a more egalitarian world yang kita masih berkembangkan, it's no longer like a gendered task anymore. So what an interesting upbringing you had.
Yes, very.
Yang penting tu jangan masak Maggi dalam baldi yang ditetapkan untuk Febreze lah.
Don't try this at home.
Okay, so that was your upbringing. Very interesting.
Yes.
And then what happened after that? You studied mechanical engineering.
Yeah. So after school, I applied for engineering.
Yes.
I applied for matriculation.
Oh.
So from Perlis, I got into Alam Shah in Cheras last time to do my matriculation in UKM. At that point of time, it was not decided whether I would do engineering or something else, right? So I went to Alam Shah for 1 year to do my matriculation. That was a fun part because my Form 1 until Form 5 was in a co-ed school.
Okay.
So I went to Alam Shah.
This is your first time lah after the Faham?
All boys, right? So all boys, and matriculation was secluded, in Alam Shah. So we had our own building, we had our own, friends. We do still keep in touch. I do still keep in touch with my friends. And the fun part there was I didn't do any bad things when I was in Form 1 until Form 5, right? I didn't smoke, I didn't, fly, I didn't go out from the school and anything, but I learned to do all that when I was in Alam Shah. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so because where do you go in Perlis, in Kanga, right? If you want to go out and so on. And it's in the middle of a paddy field, right?
I suppose.
But Alam Shah is quite interesting because outside, those days, I don't know whether you remember, we have bus Mini Wilayah, BMW.
Yes.
The pink color one, right?
The original BMW.
The original BMW,
yes.
Right? And it was pink, I remember.
Yeah.
So there was a bus stop in front. So what we do weekends, we went out illegally, right? And this was like, 30 years, 20 years back.
Yeah.
Now you know my age.
It's okay, don't do the maths lah.
Right. So we went out, we took a bus from Cheras to Kotoraya at that point of time, right? So Kotoraya was the place to hang out. So when we went out, I played a lot of sports other than the sports that I play in boarding school and so on. So that point of time, I played snooker, I played dart, I played a lot of things. So Kotoraya was famous for snooker and so on back then, right? But that life taught me that actually life is bigger than what it is, because I grew up in Perlis and so on. But having that experience in Cheras, in Alam Shah and so on, taught me that, okay, this is a life I could live, right, in KL. So after I graduated, I actually skipped my second year in matriculation because my pointers was really good. I got into the course back in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. But that course was quite special.
Yeah.
Normally, mechanical engineering, you do about 4 years of your course, right? Mine was shortened to 3 years. And I did a twinning with a local college back then. It was called 𝙁𝙊𝙀𝙀 in 𝙁𝙊𝙀𝙄𝙎.
Okay.
So I did a twinning with UKM. I did my course, mechanical engineering in 𝙁𝙀𝙀. Only in the final semester, I went to Bangi to complete my engineering, right? And it was 3 years of hell.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I learned maths, normal maths in the morning, in the day. Night, I learned the advanced mathematics. Thermodynamics 1 in the morning, thermodynamics 2 at night. Vibration 1 in the morning, vibration 2 at night. So my units, if you can imagine, right? One semester, I'm taking about 30 to 35 units.
Insane.
Yes. So my classes went on.
This is typical of a very high overachiever.
It is. Yeah, but yeah, I struggle. I
can imagine.
Yeah, it was mechanical engineering is a very tough discipline.
I can imagine.
If you don't have any interest, don't go into it.
Did you have an interest?
I did, but I didn't have a choice. So they gave me after I completed my matriculation, they gave me a choice of engineering or medicine.
Right.
So clear choice. I'm afraid of blood.
Oh,
so,
then definitely clear choice lah. The clearest ever.
Yes. So I went to mechanical.
Very interesting.
But mechanical, there was 3 back then. It was mechanical, electrical, and civil.
Yes.
So I thought to myself, electrical, maybe I can't see those things moving. So not electrical. Civil, I'm not into heavy lifting. So mechanical.
I was just about to say civil as well. That's very intense.
So I grew up with a lot of my decisions are based on common sense most of the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have some questions to ask about these decisions that he's talking about lah. Sebab kejap lagi you will see how his life was very much reminiscent of how you went from Canberra to the paddy field kan, and you were just like put in the middle and it's like adapt. And I think you had to do that throughout your career up until now. Beberapa kali yang kita boleh nampak kan, which is actually so interesting. Did you ever actually, I wanted to, before we proceed into mechanical engineering and semua yang datang selepas itu, when you were growing up, did you ever have any interest in motorsport or any type of foreshadowing yang satu hari nanti you akan jadi the CEO of SIC, or even your time doing motorsports in Petronas? Did that ever? Nothing langsung.
Nothing.
Interesting,
like,
kan?
Yeah, I grew up in very disciplined environment because my dad was in the armed forces, and my mom was a general in the house.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of whacking from her back then. Not from my dad. My dad loved me. I hope we do.
Actually, I think your mom loved you too. This is just a different time and a different.
Of course. I know that my mom and my dad loves me, but but between the two, my mom was the fierce one. So
sometimes it's like that. Yeah,
I got walloped so many times.
I believe I had a really fierce mom as well, and she's like my core strength of everything. Like at the end of the day, kan?
Yeah. My brother salah pun I kena marah.
Jadi your fault.
Yeah,
you're the oldest.
I'm the eldest.
Kita dah tahu dah, nampak dah dia punya permainan dekat situ.
Yeah.
But I think something that's also really beautiful about your childhood is you had so many opportunities to experience life in a really tangible way.
Right.
Yang sekarang kita nampak ketara beza dia, di mana macam budak-budak zaman sekarang membesar dengan teknologi, which ada kebaikan dan keburukan dia juga. Tapi sekarang, as in your role as CEO of SIC, you're responsible for creating access for kids to have more tangible experiences macam mana you ada dulu.
Betul.
So cantik kan, macam mana dia berpusing, satu pusingan yang sangat lengkap.
Betul.
Yeah.
But mental strength, these days are very different.
Banyak lagi awareness.
Growing up in a boarding school, there's a lot of character being
of
built there.
course.
I've seen the worst in boarding school. I've seen bullies back then, even until now, right? We still talk about bullying.
Yes, of course.
But then again, it shaped me to the way I am now.
Yeah. Actually, the only difference with, I think, people who grew up sekarang, kita punya budak-budak zaman sekarang kan, is that previously, when we talk about physical bullying, the extent of which it can actually go to sometimes, when you compare it, it's obviously not something that you can compare to mental bullying, but the mental of like how the kids are affected nowadays by benda-benda yang walaupun dia tak tangible and badan you tak dipecah-pecahkan kan, it still carries as much weight as physical bullying does. So it's so interesting to see how macam konsep dia tak pernah berubah, cuma dia bawa kepada generation yang baru dengan cara yang lain.
Betul.
Which is such a shame.
Yeah, betul. Back then I used to wash clothes for my senior.
Yeah.
So my senior gave me a bucket of baju.
What in the hazing is this?
Yes, those days we had to go through all this. there were a lot of things that, you know, if I share that story now, a lot of people can relate. Those in boarding school and so on.
My God.
Yeah, but I don't know if it happens now.
Yeah.
But those are the things that I went through last time. Yeah.
So you weren't kidding when you said character building. This is like building some sort of character lah.
Yes, and there's a few. If you, I don't know what you know about helicopter.
No, what is a helicopter?
So helicopter is basically you put one hand on your ear, and you put your finger on the floor and you spin.
What is the point of this?
The point of that is bullying. Yeah. So if you do something wrong, right? So your senior say, okay, helicopter, 50. So 50 rounds of helicopter. So they laugh at you lah, because after that you're pening, right? And then you like,
my God,
yeah.
This is horrible.
Yeah. Those happened back then. So yeah, that's minor.
My God.
That's minor. There's a lot worse things that I see.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
What an intense upbringing you had.
It is.
If we want to cari macam sudut yang positif kan, because I think at the end of the day, this is already so far in your history. If anything, walaupun it's not a positive experience, kita tak menggalakkan aktiviti macam ni.
Betul.
Tetapi it at least set you up for a very resilient type of character.
It is, yeah. And that point of life also in boarding school in Tuanku Putra and also Alam Shah, right? It taught me like friendship is the best thing that you can ever have. You know, you grow up with your friends, and everything, and you learn how to work in teams, right? So you want to avoid certain things, you have your teammates to back you up. And also it created me the way I am right now, because I played a lot of team sports back then. I played basketball for school. I played volleyball as well. Then, you know, a lot of other sports that I played. So playing sports is important. It creates the understanding between you and your teammate, that trust that you need to have, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so that shaped me to who I am right now.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, since we're on the topic, do you have any advice maybe to share dengan orang kat luar sana yang mungkin boleh relate dengan your story, or has been in a situation where they feel like, oh wow, I can't connect properly, or I feel very bullied by my environment? Because I think that you're such a success story, right? Despite everything that you face. And I know for kids, especially when I was younger and I maybe went through a very similar experience of bullying, less physical, but you feel like this is the end, right? Like you cannot, untuk nampak luar daripada apa yang you tengah mengalami sekarang adalah sesuatu yang sangat-sangat susah, because it feels like everything for you, you're young, right? And now you are CEO of a company. You are without a doubt a success story. And despite apa yang you pernah lalui sebelum ni, do you have any advice for people out there?
Well, my advice is, if you have a problem, find someone to speak to. That's number one. Number two, don't be shy to express yourself, right? Don't be shy to talk to someone about it. If there's something bothering you, find that someone that you can talk to, either your parents, your friends, or, you know, your teacher and someone. Because we all face this, like it or not, right? Being bullied or not, we all face this stress in our life. The most important thing that I can advise to everyone is talk to someone. Find that someone you can talk to, and hopefully that someone can give you an advice. But most of the time, we decide what we want to be, right? So you have to be sure of what you want, right? If there's something bothering you, like I said, just find that someone to talk to and try to find a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. It's tough, eh? Tough to manage, especially as a young person.
It is.
Anyways, back to your jalan cerita, which also has a lot of things that I have some questions lah for you, Shaf. Okay.
Right.
So you worked as a manufacturing engineer for Petronas Angsi A and Angsi B. And then you moved to your next job where you were the department head for sales and marketing of scientific equipments, radar, and admiralty charts and publications. What is that? And why does that sound, for me kan, sebagai seorang yang tak pernah belajar engineering, that sounds like a bit of a jump. Manufacturing engineer into sales and marketing, walaupun the work is relatively related, scientific equipments, but what is happening?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. I graduated early. It took me 3 years to graduate from my engineering. So the first job that I got was from my professor in UKM. So
Amazing.
he recommended me to go to this one place called This company is called 𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙊𝙀. It's under Muhibah Engineering last time.
Yes.
So the post was to be the manufacturing engineer for cranes.
Okay.
Right? For cranes. I don't have any idea on how to be a manufacturing engineer, how to create cranes and so on. But okay, let's give it a shot, right?
Okay.
At that point of time, I was staying with my dad and my mom in Subang, in Pangkalan UDM in Subang.
Wow.
So that place was in Klang. It's in Jalan Kebun. Yeah,
Wow.
Jalan Kebun, yeah. So I got my license back then. So I drove from my house in Subang to my workplace. First day
Before the Klang Highway.
Before the Klang Highway.
Wow.
I used the Federal Highway, and I remember I went to Padang Jawa, and then I went to the back road and so on.
Oh my
right?
God,
This
okay,
was before we have Waze and Google Map and so on.
So
right?
dulu ada buku kan, kotak ni kena sambung muka surat 54 kat
Yes,
belakang.
yes.
Top A1.
Yes,
kan?
yes. You open the big map and everything, and you read where is this
Wow.
and so on, right? So, yeah. So first day I was there, it was a very, very hot environment because there was a lot of weldings, jobs being done, fittings and so on. So my first day I reported this one guy, my supervisor. He told me, okay, welcome to the company and so on. These are all your workers. So I look at them, and they were a bunch of very old people, 50, 60 years old, fitters, welders and so on.
Wow.
And they're supposed to listen to me.
That's tough.
Yeah, and I was only 20, 21 when I graduated.
My
And,
God.
I had to look at all the bills of material. I have to order the materials and so on. That's when I learned a lot of things that, engineering is actually no joke.
Yeah,
right?
it's really not joke.
Yeah, so there were a lot of planning being done. And it taught me at that point of time, how to communicate with an older person. Because not everyone understand English back then. So I had to translate certain things to them that they should do and everything. I was monitoring at that point of time Petronas's offshore crane.
Yes.
𝙁𝙃𝙄𝙎 and 𝙁𝙃𝙄𝙎.
Yeah.
I did a few tower cranes as well. So it was a very tough job back then, and there was nothing much in Klang back then.
understand.
Yeah. So right after that, you asked me why I jumped from being a manufacturing engineer
Correct.
to selling equipment.
Yes.
Right? So there was an opportunity back then to join this one company called 𝙏𝙃𝙄𝙎 Malaysia. Right? They were subsidiary under Sime Darby.
Sime Darby, yeah.
Sime Darby last time. So I went in. My engineer friends told me, when you be an engineer, don't ever be a sales engineer, because sales engineer is not an engineer. Right? So I took a jump, and I applied for the job and so on, and I got a job. Right? But that taught me how to communicate.
Again. Like a secondary lesson, right?
Yes. Because when you go to school, when you go through your degree and so on, right, you don't know how to talk to people. You don't know how to present. You don't know. They don't teach you how to do PowerPoint presentation. They don't teach you how to sell, right? But funny thing is, when I first met my mentor at that point of time, right, he told me this: whatever you do in life, whatever you do in the world, right, you have to sell, right?
Interesting.
You sell ideas, right? It doesn't have to be a product, right? You sell ideas, you sell houses, you sell products, you sell a lot of things. So, in actual fact, right, whatever we do is always about selling and buying, right? So, he said, if you don't have this, skill, you can't pass through your life.
Brilliant.
In your career and so on. So that taught me a lot of things, because I was selling equipments, they call it destructive testing. And also there's also non-destructive testing. Destructive testing is when this equipment, right, they want to test the tensile strength of a certain material, right? So that job was interesting because I met a lot of people from the industry, right? I met people in the rubber industry. So I went to, can I say this? A condom factory.
Okay. Yeah,
right?
of course you can.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, condom factory.
Wow.
So the equipment that I sell actually blows up this condom, right? and it tests the strength of the condom, right? That was in rubber research industry in Sungai Buloh.
So this technology had an insane amount of stakeholders.
Yes,
Wow.
and they do, yeah. So that's one part of it. Of course, I do meet up with other industries like in wood.
Yeah.
They do the MDF,
MDF boards, yeah.
MDF boards. I went to a steel company that tests all the steel material and so on. So I learned a lot of things about material.
Fascinating. Wow.
Yeah. So in a lot of my experience there in MICOM, it taught me that meeting people, meeting professors, meeting doctors from the universities, because I was taking care of the government side of things.
Right.
So I went to almost all universities in Malaysia, in Sabah, Sarawak, from Perlis right down into Johor. So I went to almost all universities in Malaysia selling equipments.
All right. So the question that I wanted to ask you specifically about this is that you mentioned that communication sangat penting. And I think also from a very early point in your career, you were put in a very high leadership position, especially kadang-kadang over people older than you, which is a challenge. And I think that datang daripada latar belakang seorang yang mungkin melalui a lot of like hazing in your college and stuff like that, in order to ambil alih satu position yang leadership macam ni, you have to have a lot of confidence.
Betul.
So dari mana datang ni confidence tu? How did you build it? And macam mana you meyakinkan diri you sebelum you dapat meyakinkan orang lain untuk beli your sales pitch or ikut arahan you? How did you do this?
I learned this through a lot of failures. Banyak gagal. Banyak situasi ataupun peristiwa yang gagal ketika itu. And I learned to accept that actually failure is actually a phase in my life that I learned to overcome that. Right? Because rejection is not easy. You go, I always admire all this, orang yang jual, datang, bang, kak, tengok dulu tak beli tak apa. And just imagine how many people reject these people, and they still have the mental capability to go on and sell these products, right? So I developed that when I was in sales, right? So I learned, coming through that experience and so on is not easy. There were days that I was down because I lost a lot of sales, but I do, make it up with, future things, and I get better, right? And it's much about, studying also, right? Because sometimes when you pass lah, right? Tapi bila you fail, what do you do, right? So that has taught me to be more resilient towards who I am right now. Failure is just a phase in our life, but more importantly is how do we bounce back, right, from failure, right? So that is the most important thing.
And that's a tough thing to learn, right? Because I tak rasa benda tu boleh dibelajar daripada buku. It's more of a practical learning.
Betul.
And you can only learn this through very painful failures.
Betul.
So that's why I think sometimes for people it's like the biggest first step to overcome, because you have to put yourself in this discomfort untuk belajar sesuatu yang you boleh bawa selepas itu.
Betul.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very good insight. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So you were doing sales, right, at this point. Did you enjoy the job?
I did actually. I really enjoyed that phase because that feeling when you close a sale, right?
Yes.
You got the sale and then you've been working on it for so long. Dah lama you buat follow up after phone calls, right? Then suddenly you see the result. Okay, I won the job. I won the tender. I won the sebuah harga and so on, right? So that feeling, until today, I can't find it anywhere else in my job, because sales to me is very close. It shaped me to who I am right now, to never give up in life. And sales has taught me a lot of things. Satu, pasal kira-kira, you have to be good at your maths. Tu ni. The other part that I learned from sales is you kena belajar sabar. I see, because there's a lot of kesabaran yang perlu dilalui at that point of time. You just imagine, you drive daripada Kuala Lumpur, you drive to Johor untuk jumpa dengan this one professor dekat UTM. Suddenly this professor said, no, I can't meet you today, maybe tomorrow. So, sabarlah. It's okay, never mind. So, come back again tomorrow. Okay, tunggu, I ada kelas sampai pukul sekian. So, I tunggu. And then suddenly, lepas habis kelas tu, barulah boleh jumpa. So bila jumpa, he was in a very bad mood. Macam mana I nak, you know,
menghappykan
dia balik untuk, you know, neutralize the whole situation, right? So there's a lot of skills and there's a lot of PR work that you need to do. That also satu benda yang I belajar dulu lah. Macam mana nak PR dengan orang ni. Kadang-kadang, you know lah, sometimes this professor ni serious kan. Kadang-kadang dia in a bad mood apa semua. Kadang-kadang, you know, alah, jumpa orang ni lagi, nak jual apa pula apa semua, nak jual apa lagi apa semua kan. So kena tebalkan muka sikit lah untuk nak jumpa dengan ni kan. So ketebalan tu memang daripada dulu sampai sekarang memang bawa-bawa lah. Sometimes kita ni, I think in our culture, kita ni malu, teragak-agak and then malu, right, nak jumpa dengan orang semua. So sales has taught me untuk jangan malu, jangan apa, risau. Risau tu kena ada lah, right? Tapi always think positive lah, right? Because sales ni kalau you negative, boleh ke teragak-agak kan tak boleh. Dia sales ni, dia punya apa sifat dia kena always kena positif. Mesti kata opportunity tu ada, okay, let's try this, let's try that and everything. But I had a lot of help lah. I have some good mentors back then.
Faham.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, right?
Yes.
Because I think also another thing that crops up for a lot of young people out there yang mungkin menyimpan impian untuk jadi CEO of something one day, right? Is that this patience aspect pun sangat penting. Because can I ask you, from your perspective dalam your career, how long did it take you untuk belajar the skill ataupun refine it to a point where it becomes second nature for you? Because I know a lot of people out there yang mungkin nak cuba untuk sell something ke apa ke, lepas sebulan, 2 bulan, 3 bulan sale failure apa semua, putus asa. Dan putus asa kadang-kadang tu akan paling tak membantu langsung dengan you punya proses kan. Because it takes so long. So from somebody who's successful, I think it'll mean the most, right? How long did it take you? So that orang kat luar sana, dia orang ada benchmark tahu, untuk tahu, okay, how long do I have to invest in this failure process sebelum I akan sampai kat mana-mana?
Actually until today
tak habis lagi.
So nak jawab soalan you tu sampai bila, actually jawapan dia sampai bila-bila.
Faham.
Because proses pembelajaran ni dia tak pernah berhenti. To me lah. I'm still learning actually. I'm still learning a lot of things. I'm still learning from the young ones, from my kids. I still learn from my dad, my mom, and so on. I still learn from you know, my mentor. I still keep in touch with them. Yeah, it's a lifelong process, right? So to me, for those of you yang dengar podcast ni, jangan berhenti belajar. Always belajar, and you have to keep your mind active sepanjang masa. Even bila dah berhenti kerja nanti pun, we have to find something yang kita perlu buat untuk kita asah kita punya minda.
Faham.
Kalau tak nanti cepat janyuk.
Yeah, that's true also. Healthy mind is very, very important.
Betul.
So, okay, you worked in sales and then you moved again in 2007, and you did not move into a sales position. You became the area manager, bulk commercial. No, you were in sales, bulk commercial sales for liquefied petroleum gas. And you did this for 5 years. Was this a different jump for you, or was it the same skill set yang sales tu you bawa kepada dunia yang lain pula?
It's a different skill set, but a funny story there.
Okay.
Actually, I wanted to go into Petronas for the longest of time. Actually, lepas pada I graduated, one of the companies I would love to work in was Petronas.
You did NCA and NCB, yeah?
Yeah, NCA and NCB. Yeah, I did the crane before. So, I tried through a friend. I submitted my resume. And then what motivated me at that point of time, right, was the uniform. You know, it's not those that you see at the petrol kiosk and so on.
Yes,
it's the uniform for the staff and so on.
Okay.
So I saw this one photo, this one guy looking very handsome and so on, wearing this white shirt which is with the Petronas logo and everything, and I was imagining myself, can I be that?
Like
right?
a movie.
Like a movie, right?
I love it.
Yeah, so that inspired me. So
okay,
I applied and I got a job. But I had to move from Kuala Lumpur to Johor Bahru.
Okay.
At that point of time, that was the part that was quite interesting also, because that was the year that, or a year before that I got married.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So as a newlywed, your whole family kena upsticks pergi Johor.
Yes. So
Wow.
I had to bring my wife to Johor and so
What
on.
did your wife say about this?
Well, she was okay. Let's go. Let's pack our bags and
That's so lovely. What a
let's go.
supportive, lovely person.
She left her job. To follow me to Johor.
It takes a family, right?
Yeah, because she told me that she couldn't cut, working on a Sunday.
No, of course,
Yeah,
of
because
course.
she was with Maxis last time.
Of course.
Yeah, she followed me to Johor, and then I started my life in Johor as the LPG sales area manager at that point of time.
That's incredible.
So what do I do?
Yes, I was going to ask that because LPG sounds, this is above
LPG is liquefied petroleum gas.
Yeah.
LPG. In short, is your tong gas lah. Untuk
Cakap je lah tong gas kan.
Yeah, tong gas doesn't look sexy,
LPG,
right?
dia style. Dia match dengan baju Petronas tu.
Yes.
Faham.
So I was taking care of the dealers dekat sana, in Johor, and also I didn't know that they're also selling LPG in bulk. So
Wow.
in lorries.
Yeah.
In lorries,
yeah.
right? So they deliver the LPG to all the industrial area in Johor at that point of time. So that was quite interesting also. Jaga tong gas. Doesn't look sexy, right? Jaga tong gas, right?
Yeah, that's why we have to say LPG.
Yeah, but that's one of the best job that I can ever.
Really?
Yeah, because you get to know all the nice food places, foodie, right?
Oh, of course, right?
So you go with your dealer to visit all these restaurants, these nice restaurants in Johor. At that point of time, I was handling Johor. I was handling the other parts of Johor as well. I went from Pontian right up to the western side of Johor. Went up north to Batu Pahat, to Muar, and so on. So I got to know Johor.
The entire territory of Johor.
Territory Johor. And then right after that, I was expanded to Malacca and also Negeri Sembilan. So
Oh my God!
I was taking care of the
Really,
whole southern region.
LPG Tauke
Yeah.
of South Malaysia. Wow, that's
And
incredible.
Yeah, and I clocked a lot of miles, a lot of kilometers in my car.
I can
last time.
imagine.
Yeah, I was traveling a lot. Typically, I had my firstborn at that point in time in Johor. He was traveling with me most of the time.
What a special time in your life.
Yeah, and we have this one, small LCD in my car and everything, and we grew up watching Mars Needs Mom. If you've ever,
okay, I don't have kids,
Yeah.
so this is not my. What is Mars Needs Mom?
Yeah, it's a story about this boy or this kid have been adopted, kidnapped by an alien, right?
Okay.
And then I can't really remember the story, but I watched it like 1,000 times
Oh
in the
my
car
gosh!
with my son.
All the way driving,
all the
Melaka,
way,
Johor,
Melaka Johor, and then I have to go back to KLCC for meetings and so
Oh
on.
my
Right?
God.
So I clocked a lot of miles there. Yeah.
What a crazy. Okay, and the thing is that's so interesting is that after studying mechanical engineering, which already is considered quite a heavy hitting degree lah, just after civil engineering, which he went for as well.
Right.
So mechanical engineering, now you're doing sales and you're thriving. So this is where you shine like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Did you look back and you were like, I spent so much time getting this mechanical engineering degree? Or did you think that actually it's really good that I did this sebab you akan pakai juga or dia boleh apply or it helps you understand?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Actually, my view on degree, right? Degree helps you to create your critical thinking. Right?
Interesting.
Right. Any degree that you take, doesn't matter if it's mechanical ke ataupun medic ke, law ke, right? Is actually if you practice, kalau pun you guna you punya ilmu tu, it's just maybe 10-20% if you're not into the business, right? But what it helps you to do is basically to be critical about things.
Interesting.
To us,
Interesting.
right? Because those days, when we grow up, when we were kids, right? We asked a lot of whys, right? Why is it like this? Kenapa langit tinggi? Kenapa burung terbang? Right? So we asked a lot of why. But we stopped asking why along the way because there's so many whats, there's so many why, there's so many when, there's so many who and so on. But the most critical W is actually why, right? So when I was thinking back those years, right? What I would love to do if I can go back then is to ask a lot more why than what.
Interesting.
Or others, right? Because purpose is very important. If you don't know your purpose, right, you get lost.
Yeah.
There were points in my life where I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I was doing this, I was doing that. We took you through the whole career and so on. But you punya matlamat ataupun you punya your end point, right, can never go wrong, right, if you really know your purpose, right?
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing.
So my natural follow-up question for this is, what is your purpose?
What is my purpose? My purpose, since I was small, I want to lead. I want to lead a team, right? That has always been my purpose. I knew that, when I was born, until when I was, growing up and so on, I led a team back in school. I led a team when I was working. I was always leading a team, And to me, right, when I know that I have to lead, right, then I know my purpose is this, right? And you can't run away from leading a team. Yeah.
Another follow-up question, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people macam, especially when we're talking about like kids and stuff like that, diorang akan cakap macam, yang this kid, for example, dia ada natural leadership qualities. Kita selalu akan dengar, especially gabungan perkataan-perkataan tu, natural leadership qualities. From your perspective, how much of it is actually a natural and how much of it is something that sebenarnya you boleh hone? Because I think when it comes to confidence dalam seorang individu kan, kadang-kadang maybe I want to be a leader, contoh. Tapi I rasa macam, I tak ada natural leadership qualities ni. Adakah itu sesuatu yang boleh dibelajar, de-improve, to hone it even more? It's something that you either have it or I'm sorry, you just don't.
Interesting. Because whether you have it or you don't have it, I think that's secondary, right? The number one primary thing that you need to know is whether you want it, right? Sometimes, we go into a role not wanting it, right? And you've been in a situation, I don't know whether you've been in a situation.
Macam diri terpaksa.
Macam terpaksa, right? Okay, and then your boss tell you, okay lah, you lead this team, right? Tapi sebenarnya you tak nak, right?
Yeah.
Itu pun tak boleh juga, right? Because first things first, you really want it, right? And kalau benda ni, this is what I learned in life. Kalau betul-betul katakan, sometimes when you wake up in the morning, right, you rasa macam berat sangat nak pergi kerja kan. Kenapa? Right? You have to ask whether actually is this what you want?
Faham.
Right? Is this what you want to do in life? Right? So I always ask that because in this role that I'm in right now, never once in my life that I wake up is heavy because I really want it. Right?
Understand.
So I think coming back to your question, whether you're born with it or whether you have to learn about, this, right? It doesn't matter. The most important thing is you nak ke tak nak, right? Kalau you nak, it can be learned, but you have to go through it lah. Some people are born leaders.
Yeah.
Right? You've seen, in movies, in real life and so on, right? Some people you tengok je macam, dia ni memang betul lah, memang leader lah.
Yeah.
Kan? Tengok muka pun macam wow.
Muka pun dah ada aura leader.
Muka pun macam dah leader kan. Kan? Macam mana tak boleh jadi leader, right?
Faham.
But some people are not like that.
Yeah,
some people are just like, tengok pun macam betul ke leader kan. But whether you look like a leader or you don't look like a leader, right? The first thing that you need to understand is whether you want to be in that role.
Such an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a brilliant answer, Syaf. And then seeing as we're on the topic, I ada soalan tambahan. Okay. Wanting to be a leader tu, right? And what is actually a leader? Sebab I rasa macam kadang-kadang kita ada banyak sangat salah faham terhadap benda-benda yang bunyi dia macam best. Siapa tak nak jadi leader? Best gila. I tetapkan macam ni, semua orang ikut. Lepas tu kita pergi mana-mana yang saya nak, contohnya. Because you're the captain of the ship. Tapi sebenarnya apa yang orang tak seberapa nak highlightkan adalah benda-benda yang wajib datang sepackage sekali dengan nak jadi seorang leader adalah tanggungjawab yang luar biasa. So itu sebenarnya kadang-kadang orang tak bagi perhatian kepada berapa susahnya untuk pikul tanggungjawab sebagai seorang leader. Sebab sekarang kalau menang, you yang akan jadi muka. Kalau kalah, itu you juga yang bertanggungjawab atas benda itu yang sama. So is there any insight you boleh bagi kat orang tu, kat orang kat luar sana yang mungkin tengah dengar sekarang, terhadap leadership as a whole, so that we don't accidentally glamorize it, make it sound really fun, and then it like reality hits you in the face and you're like, whoa, this is way more than I bargained for. Kenapa I masih tengah kerja pukul 12:30 malam?
I always ask that question.
Yeah, like, why is it 3 a.m? I'm still in the office.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Faham.
Right? Tapi just nak bawa to the lighter side of things.
Yeah.
If you ever seen Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
Uncle Ben say that with great power
comes great responsibility.
Right?
Yes.
So Uncle Ben is not wrong actually.
True.
Right? Because every leader, dia ada dia punya accountability and responsibility, right? So kalau nak jadi leader, tak nak ada accountability, tak nak ada responsibility, it cannot be done because it's natural, right? Sebab nak jadi leader ni, nak jadi suatu ketua dalam satu organisasi ni, kita kena pikul tanggungjawab yang amat berat actually. You know, looks fun to be a CEO, it looks fun to be a leader, but being a leader comes with a lot of things, right? Your signature, my signature carries a lot of things, right? When I sign something, I always make a point that I read everything that I sign, right? I always tell my staff, right? You know, sometimes they send to me, I cakap, okay, tak apa, leave it on my desk, bagi I baca dulu. And then they tengok, I macam, just sign lah the thing, right? No, I can't. You know, I need to understand, I need to faham, I need to read, and I need to check before I sign, right? So inilah tanggungjawabnya sebagai seorang leader. Bukan setakat duduk situ, sign off benda-benda yang ni semua, tapi tak ada kefahaman ataupun tanggungjawab terhadap itulah. Yeah.
Mesti kena jadi seorang yang sangat rajin lah.
Rajin tu comes with memang kena rajin. Kalau tak rajin tu lah.
Tak jadilah leader
tak
tu.
Jadilah, susah.
Akan jadi leader untuk mungkin 10 saat sebelum orang dah rasa macam tak boleh lah dengan dia ni kan.
Betul.
Okay, so another really change yang sangat ketara in your life. So after you started working at Petronas, you were doing this area manager stuff. Then you transitioned within Petronas kepada satu division yang tak pernah lagi masuk setakat ni in your life, which is the motorsports division.
Yes.
Macam mana seorang mechanical engineer boleh all the way sampai ke motorsports?
Okay.
From what?
Yeah, that transition was quite funny as well.
It's hilarious, but also like so interesting how you just like threw yourself at all of these crazy concepts and swam until now.
So before I joined motorsports, that was the department in the whole of Petronas yang orang nak join.
Of course, it's glamorous.
It's glamorous, right? You'll be walking with Lewis Hamilton. You'll be walking with, Nico Rosberg. And then you'll be rubbing shoulders with, all the Formula 1 team.
Incredible.
And then you dapat pakai the team uniform.
Lagi upgrade.
Lagi upgrade lah.
Style.
So, jalan pun dah lain macam lah. Jalan pun dah tukar lah kan. Masa tu kan.
Swag.
Right. But what I realised is it's not glamorous at all.
You go.
Yeah.
Okay, spill the secrets.
It's not glamorous at all. Okay lah, I mean, you have your moments. You travel the world and so on, right? But behind that, there's a lot of
job.
There's a lot of job. There's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of meetings. And the weather is very, very susah. Like in Sepang, right? You know, you tengok orang, all these people yang work in motorsport and semua, actually they are exposed to sun, they're exposed to bad weather and everything, right?
Yeah.
So they're exposed to noise, so there's a lot of negative environment dekat situ lah.
Faham?
But of course dalam semua kepayahan, semua kesusahan tu juga datang jugalah ada some things yang ada perks lah dekat situ yang you get to see the world, you get to jaga the contract masa tu. So I was taking care of the contract matters, all the sponsorship contracts under Formula 1, under the title sponsor that we did with with Formula One, both for the team and also the event. Last time Petronas sponsored the event.
I remember this phase was so huge for Petronas. The
Yes.
riders were Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg. This was like the peak of F1 in Malaysia.
Betul.
And you had the coolest and also scariest job I pernah dengar in my life, part of which entailed handling sponsorships for all of this. So imagine the corporate partnerships, the people yang you dapat jumpa.
Betul.
What a crazy ride.
So yeah, that was really the highlight of my career in Petronas. At that point of time, I was also handling the board between Petronas and also Daimler in Germany.
Gila.
So myself and my team, my boss at that point of time, wanted to create this joint board membership between Petronas and also Daimler Mercedes,
yeah.
in Stuttgart, right? To talk about all the other things outside of sponsorship. Say for example, nak cerita pasal technical stuff kat situ kan. Nak cerita pasal branding, nak cerita pasal commercial kat situ. So every year we would go to Stuttgart in Germany to have this conversation with the top management of Daimler. And I brought in all the top leadership from Petronas. We sat there for a few hours and so on, so to talk about this stuff and everything, right? So banyak benda yang buat time tu yang I rasa I pun bangga lah juga. I was part of the team. I didn't do this alone. I had a team behind me. But of course, it was a really eye-opener for me to look into all the different brands dalam Formula One and to work with people from Mercedes, from the Formula One team and so on. You know that minyak yang ada dalam kereta kita sampai sekarang, minyak tu adalah dibuat oleh orang Malaysia. Right?
Bangga lah.
Yeah, the scientists that formulated all that came from Bangi, our Petronas research.
Came from Bangi?
Yeah, Petronas research in
That's
Bangi.
incredible.
Yeah, so our scientist is one of the brightest people in Malaysia. So they created the formula and so on. But of course, the formulation, kita work together dengan the team from Mercedes to do this. But formula yang ada minyak pelincir dekat situ, minyak enjin, minyak untuk gear apa semua tu minyak Petronas.
Wow.
Bukan pada orang lain.
How insanely cool is that?
Itu produk Malaysia. Right? So I bangga to work with these engineers and so on. And at that point of time also we ventured into MotoGP. So I remember MotoGP tu, I dengan my boss tengah ketuk pintu-pintu lah nak tanya siapa boleh partner dengan Petronas ni, because all the MotoGP punya team semua dah ada dia punya oil and gas punya partner, right?
Yeah.
So at that point of time, Datuk Razlan was the former CEO of SIC.
Yes.
So he came to us and say, ada opportunity untuk kita partner dengan Yamaha at that point of time. And then I cakap, okay lah, let's go dengan my boss semua kan. So it was a very short time. We created the team masa tu sekali dengan Datuk Razlan at that point of time. I went to Japan dengan the team of engineers from Petronas, right, to do the testing because minyak sebelum kita masuk dalam enjin tu. So I went to Yamaha punya factory dekat situ, tengok, and then sampai-sampai tu first time I tengok macam okay, this is the engine punya part yang telah dihuraikan atas meja. And the Japanese was, showing us, okay, this is the engine. We need the fuel. We need the lubricant to work in this. So we did a few rounds of testing dekat situ sebelum minyak kita masuk dalam engine tu lah. Itu kan sebab about 6 bulan kot dekat situ untuk kita. It's one of the fastest development yang kita buat. Turnarounds yang kita buat dengan Yamaha lah at that point of time. Yeah, and the team at that point of time was a satellite team. It was not the main team.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they turned it around 6 months?
6 months.
For a satellite team?
For a satellite team. And the best part is, the satellite team was performing better than the factory team.
So, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was so crazy. And I remember the first time we had our win dekat situ with Fabio, if I'm not mistaken. It was really amazing. It was really amazing.
How cool.
Yeah. And I was really proud also with the Formula One team also because before this tak menang kan.
Yeah.
So masuk tu, I think the first win was back in 2014. So we had multiple wins at the point of time. So I was proud at the point of time. I was part of the team yang
dapat rasa
menang
ni kan.
tu lah. So
awesome.
menang kat Formula 1, menang dekat MotoGP and so on. So
that was like really glory days.
Yeah, glory
Truly,
days.
it really was.
Yeah,
I do have a question for you though, on like a personal level. Sebab I ada terbaca that you actually weren't like the biggest motorsport fan ke apa ke. Sebab I fikir macam, okay, to make a transition from something that is like gas related, the most basic community tapi sangat-sangat penting dalam kita punya aktiviti harian, terus masuk ke dalam motorsport dengan serta-merta sebegitu. I thought, okay, for sure this is somebody who, and also look at your current position as SIC code. I'm like, he loves sports. We were dealing with a major motorhead. Then I was doing research about you and I'm like, okay, not so much lah kan.
Tak ada.
So how did you fall in love with the sport throughout it? What was the thought process here? Like on a personal level, how did you approach it?
Well, when I first entered into motorsport, Petronas Motorsports, right, I have no experience at all in motorsports. No, I follow motorsports at that point of time, right? And I have to be honest that I'm not a professional driver nor rider. I've never been involved in any competitive motorsports.
So interesting.
Yeah. But the thing that I love about motorsports is the people. Orang-orang yang berada dalam motorsport ni sungguh ceria dan sungguh warna-warni.
Sports is like that lah.
Yes. Yeah. And there's so many characters in motorsports that, you know, if I have the time to tell you about everyone in motorsports, right?
Kita akan ada sampai lah.
They have their own character, right? But what I understand about motorsports is all about relationship building.
Yes.
It's all about, you know, forging that relationship, forging that trust actually, right? Because to work in motorsport is all about trust. It's not far from, you know, if you play sports, right? You need that trust from your teammates and so on. You need trust from your team, right? To carry through. So tak jauh lah daripada konsep bersukan ni dengan konsep yang kita berada dalam industri motorsport ni. Tak jauh.
So it's actually not that much of an extrapolation again.
Yes.
So how did you transition out of, you know, working in motorsports within Petronas to suddenly taking the position of CEO of Sepang International Circuit? Because this also feels like quite a, I mean, adjacent for sure, but a jump nonetheless.
Okay. Kalau I boleh be brutally honest, at that point of time, I dah bosan dengan my position.
Okay.
I dah bosan. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm hitting at my age right now. Where else can I go after doing, you know, such a, you know, very interesting job in
and
motorsports.
Also at such a high level. I mean, if you're going to be transparent about it, you had reached such a high level.
Yeah. So where do I go after this, right? What else excites me in Petronas, right? Well, I was thinking of going back to business at that point of time because coming from Petronas and I was, you know, directly handling the business. So I was thinking of going into business. So funny story, I met up with Datuk Azhan at that point of time and I asked, bagi salam lah sebelum masuk rumah, right? I bagi salam pada Datuk Azhan. I cakap, okay Datuk, I wanted to apply for, you know, the CEO position. I know that, you know, you're looking for someone. Can I try? Boleh tak I cuba? Dia kata, why not? Dia kata, just bagi punya pass the resume and everything and then the headhunter will reach out to you and then basically kita tengok lah whether you have the ni or not, right? So dia kata kat I at that point of time, so dia dah interview ramai orang macam tu, and this job the CEO of SIC memang one of the job yang semua orang nak lah. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to be there because I don't know, maybe it's glamorous, maybe it's, you know, it's high position, right? Tapi tak ramai yang faham pasal motorsports. And that point of time SIC was looking for someone yang dah ada some sort of a background in motorsports and all, right? So I applied. Long story short, I got a job. This was back in 2019, right? 2019.
Yeah, this timing is crazy, guys. Wait till you listen to this.
Yeah, so 2019 was a very, very interesting year for me because at that point of time I was excited to get this job. Tapi pada masa yang sama, I have to leave my permanent job to go into a contract ni. And I have to leave a big corporation like Petronas.
Yes.
Right?
Which offers so much stability and associations and that line.
Yes. And I really, at that point of time, perasaan suka nak masuk ke ni campur baur dengan perasaan takut tu memang ada. I cannot deny that. I have to be honest, right? I have to leave and then I told my dad that, okay, I got this job and everything, I'm going to contract. He said, are you sure? He asked me, and yes, I'm sure. But I was not sure at that point of time, right?
Yeah.
And then little that I know, 2020 is the year of the COVID.
Oh my God.
Right? So when I got the letter from MOF, because I have to leave Petronas, my permanent job, I have to quit my job. It's not a secondment to SIC, right? Because I have to quit my permanent job and then I enter
Take up the
contract dengan
Yes.
dengan MOF lah. Right? Time tu I dapat surat, I cakap, yay, dah jadi CEO apa semua. Later that I know, I think 1 month or a few weeks before that, COVID hit.
This is the craziest timeline I pernah dengar. And you had no idea, obviously. Obviously, you didn't know this is coming.
Yes.
And you're like, wow, great. Now I'm the CEO of a physical venue. Not that I cannot operate because nobody can come here.
Betul.
So what do you do in this situation? Kalau I nangis, nangis dulu fikir kemudian.
Yeah. Always, and like what I said, right? I always look at the positive side of things, right? Of course, there's a lot more negative at that point of time. Dah lah baru dapat kerja, and then tak boleh physically masuk tempat kerja apa semua, and we were all locked down at that point of time, right?
Crazy.
Right. But the positive side of things is when they were announcing me on national TV, right? Everyone was at home, everyone was looking at the news.
Okay, best dah tu.
Right? And I got the attention of everyone.
Okay,
right?
bagus lah.
Yeah, but the downside of things is there was a lot of challenges at that point of time.
Yeah.
My first town hall dengan the staff was online. And you just imagine, before that, right? We never conducted anything, like meetings and so on. This is town hall. And you do a online town hall. This is first time I'm doing this. So, biasalah kat rumah. And then you siap daripada atas sampai ke bawah. Bawah pakai kain pelikat. Right? Sarung, right? And then, okay lah. I spoke to the team and so on. It was really, really uncharted territory at that point of time. It was one of the things that you call VUCA, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's some things that, this is the first time being a CEO, and then suddenly, COVID hit and everything. How am I supposed to lead a team? How am I supposed to lead a company when the company itself is doing events?
Yes.
Right? No events. No revenue.
And I also read, correct me if I'm wrong, and obviously stop me if I'm asking anything sensitive, right? But it takes about 10 million ringgit a year to maintain just the Sepang circuit in terms of kita ada regulation of quality of whatever. How do you even process firstly the figure that you have to kind of like make, and you have to obviously don't sia-siakan and then you now have to generate revenue that cannot be generated in an industry that is non-essential, that was shut down for how many months? Non-essential was shut down.
Betul.
Ui.
I remember that point of time I was scratching my head. How do I do this?
Yes.
But I had a lot of help from the team, from the board at that point of time. Tan Sri Azman was Yahya was my chairman. He helped me a lot during those days. Banyak benda lah yang actually it was really the first for me, right? We couldn't open anything, right? But it was a good point also at that point of time, right? Where I did some housekeeping dekat situ. So, kena susun ni apa semua, kemaskan ni, kemaskan tu apa semua kan. And then, instruction daripada kementerian, because we're agency under MOF and also KBS, I cannot buang pekerja. I cannot lay off, because that's the first thing that you would do.
Of course.
If you are in a corporate.
Untuk jimat duit,
right? Because fixed costs, you kena manage.
Tapi kesian dekat orang pula sebab
tapi kesian kat orang je. So during the
Force
COVID
major,
period tu semua, kita tak buang orang.
Amazing.
Kita tak potong gaji. Right? Gaji sentiasa dibayar every month. Tapi everyone was working lah dekat rumah semua. But what I had to do was I had to cut the the OTs, the allowances and so on, just to stay afloat.
Understand.
We were lucky also because at that point of time adalah cash reserve dalam SIC, and we had to survive on that lah.
Yeah. But this is crazy. And also you walked in midway through the SIC master plan as well, which already, I think there was like some parts that start, and then you're like, this is a lot. But I wanted to commend you because I think from the turnaround that you managed to make happen is quite remarkable. So 2022 comes around, selepas kita dah macam nak keluar daripada pandemic, you have 6 months to do MotoGP, which is an insane, like with the dalam satu environment di mana bayangkan lah, you guys dah kerja secara remote, dah kurang practice melakukan event, apalagi sebesar MotoGP, which the whole world is watching. How did you handle this phase of like MotoGP 6 months and after that manage to turn around and make SIC profitable for the first time coming out of the pandemic?
Yeah, again, I have to say that I have to thank the board and also all the staff pekerja-pekerja dekat SIC ni banyak menolong I time tu untuk handle the preparation for MotoGP lah. Because I remember that point of time banyak kita turun naik ke MKN untuk minta kelonggaran untuk, I think the first thing that we do 2022 tu adalah kita buka untuk MotoGP testing.
Yes.
MotoGP testing pada awal tahun. There was a lot of ups and down. Kita pergi sana buat SOP, buatlah bubble, motorsport bubble. Yang motorsport bubble tu, if you remember, there was an incident, one of the MotoGP rider keluar daripada bubble, cycle ke Port Dickson.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was quite a story at the point of time, right? So banyak benda yang actually kita buat masa tu, but I couldn't have done it without the support from the team.
Yeah.
So I owe a lot from the team from SIC apa semua, and also pihak kementerian banyak bantu, KBS banyak bantu kita time tu untuk kita dapat buka lah the circuit and so on. And coming back to your question, preparation daripada time kita buka tu sampailah time kita buat MotoGP tu was memang very daunting lah. It was a very daunting experience.
I can imagine.
Time tu I remember bulan April kita buka border untuk orang masuk apa semua kan, but still people have to be quarantined and so on, right? So I remember at that point of time, so masa travel pun kena balik quarantine seminggu 2 minggu semua kan. So very very tough, susah masa tu.
Gila. Do you think macam secara tak sengaja actually the fact that you were relatively new to the position membantu? Dari segi you didn't have this like blueprint of MotoGP ni sebenarnya macam mana sebelum ni. So when you started for 2022 punya version of MotoGP ni, you had, okay, for kita take aside the fact that this is you're new to the position, there's no blueprint for macam mana nak lakukan an event seperti MotoGP dalam satu pandemic. Benda tu tak pernah wujud, tak kisahlah dekat Malaysia ke dekat luar pun tak pernah wujud. So ni adalah sesuatu yang you kena cipta from scratch. Did it help that you didn't have this like blueprint of alamak biasanya macam ni? So at least you dapat cipta sesuatu dengan kebebasan itu juga.
Ya, betul. Banyak creativity yang perlukan masa tu lah. I remember at that point of time ada SOP yang ada safety distance, penjarakan apa semua orang kan pakai mask masa keluar apa semua kan. So macam mana kita nak buat event yang tak ada penjarakan sosial kan, seperti event macam MotoGP apa semua, we need people to come in,
crowd.
So if I say I have to leave one gap between the seats and so on, I wouldn't maximize my capacity right, in terms of revenue and so on. Tapi alhamdulillah at that point of time kelonggaran tu telah beri sikit oleh pihak kerajaan, and we managed to pull the rabbit out of the hat in 2022.
Great job.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And honestly, you've done some really, really cool things that I think ever since your tenure kind of really had the freedom to take off selepas dah habis kita punya PKP kan. For example, SIC timeout, which I thought was a really interesting initiative. So I don't know if people are aware of this. You guys can actually come, cycle, run and walk around the track untuk dapat experience something really up close and personal. Tu satu. Sebab biasanya kalau kita pergi tengok MotoGP in the grandstand or wherever lah in the stands, right, watching, you tak dapat rasa like you're part of the environment. You also opened it for children aged 7 and under to come and watch the Malaysian MotoGP. And also you dropped ticket prices this year to $49.90, which is really awesome. It's cool to see you working with such transparency and also making such big shifts. Cuma I wanted to ask you, because this is all kind of like crazy stuff.
Yes.
Like for example, the ticket price drop financially. How does this even work? MotoGP is expensive. When you drop ticket prices daripada seorang yang obviously bukan seorang CEO lah kan, tapi I buat matematik yang basic lah dalam otak. I fikir macam okay, RM49.90. Lepas tu kita kali, and then you fikir okay, budget untuk just firstly budget untuk jaga Sepang tu adalah satu. Budget untuk lakukan MotoGP on such a big scale pun satu. How
Yeah.
How?
Well, remember I told you earlier about the question why?
Yes.
Kenapa?
Yeah.
Right. So I think I have to address the why dulu kat sini.
Okay, why?
Kenapa kita buat macam ni? Okay. First time I masuk SIC, perception semua orang lah pasal SIC, right? SIC ni adalah tempat untuk elite, the elitist, right? Of course, the association dengan Formula 1 semua, cuma orang kaya je boleh datang ke SIC, right? So I wanted to change that mindset, right? Perception orang pasal SIC. So what we do is kita discuss dengan pihak kementerian. Actually SIC time out ni is not something new. We just rebranded it from last time. SIC pun ada buka sebelum ni. Untuk jogging.
I don't know why I've never heard of this.
Yeah, so actually it's not something new, but kita buat a lot of communication on that, right? So I buka circuit tu untuk orang masuk secara percuma, tak payah bayar apa-apa, and then untuk memupuk interest in people to come in untuk bersukan, right? You can come in, you nak jogging ke, you nak cycling ke, you nak bawa your family ke, you nak bawa your baby in a pram ke, apa semua ke, boleh, tak ada masalah, right? So that was the purpose why we open SIC untuk orang masuk, right? And then the part that kita turunkan harga tiket MotoGP tu.
This is really cool.
Yeah, if you convert that to euro or you convert that to pounds and so on.
That's exactly the problem.
Yeah, so berapa actually you bayar untuk masuk tengok MotoGP? Dah lah you masuk okay lah Friday percuma, and then tiket tu valid untuk Saturday, untuk hari Sabtu dan untuk hari Ahad, right?
For me it's not even kita janganlah banding sejauh even as euros or pounds, right? Kita banding dengan apa yang kita dulu pernah nak kena bayar untuk datang kat satu event macam ni, itu pun dah jauh.
Yeah, betul. So that also goes back to kenapa, why, right? Because when we decided to drop the price to this 49.90, right? Kita nak benda ni kita terajui bersama dengan pihak kementerian lah. It's actually, kita nak bagi akses pada orang ramai untuk masuk tengok.
Amazing.
Tengok ni semua. Tengok ni. Of course, kita ada complimentary ticket, tapi of course kita tak adalah boleh bagi complimentary ticket pada semua orang kan, because we need to run the business. So how best that we can do this, without giving complimentary ticket, kita lower down the price, right? Bagi more affordable. But of course 49-90% tu is at the hill stand punya side lah, right? Tapi kalau you pergi ke Silverstone ke, you pergi ke ni semua ke, masalah semua suka duduk dekat hillside ni, kan? Sebab they love the sun. Kita sini terbalik.
Tak juga. I nampak beramai je Malaysia kat situ juga.
Adalah,
There was a lot.
Ramai.
Families pula tu.
Ya, ramai. Tapi, yalah.
Tapi faham lah. Biasa ni kita akan cari tempat duduk.
Yeah, we are built in a culture yang, okay, we are, 24/7 panas.
Yes.
Right? And we akan cari tempat duduk semua. Understand? But for 49.90, right? And that idea is actually untuk bagi ruang dan peluang pada orang masuk, bawa anak bini sekali, right? Pupuk semangat kesukanan ni daripada kecil, right? Because we want to tackle, actually sports ni is quite interesting. Kita kena tackle daripada when we were young,
yes,
right? And remember your childhood,
yes,
when you came over, right?
Dulu zaman gemilang, kita ada F1.
Yes.
I pergi dengan my dad, dia akan bawa me, my brother, my mom je memang tak minat langsung, dia akan datang. So it was like me and my dad, and it was our thing to come and watch the F1.
Yeah. So daripada kecil kita patut pupuk semangat tu.
Macam tu.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to gain the interest from the kids, right? So diorang boleh ingat balik, oh last time I went here with my parents, right? I duduk dekat hill stand kat sini, and the ticket that time was 49.90, right? So when they grow up, bila dia nak bekerja apa semua, we hope that they come and be our future customer and bawa
diorang punya kids. Oh, such a tradisi.
Yes, so it's a tradition. And of course, the prestige and the tradition yang kita ada dekat SIC ni is one of the one of the best, if not the best circuit in the world that we have in Malaysia. Ramai orang tak tahu yang actually this circuit yang kita ada kat Malaysia ni, ramai orang suka datang because of the technical things,
aspects of it. Yes, it's considered very difficult.
Yeah, and also the legendary punya status lah dekat for the circuit around the world.
Which I can attest to, because zaman I budak dulu, my dad was so like into motorsports, and so he made sure that me and my brother came with him, and it was part of the conversation even back then, like, you know, this is something yang Malaysia ada yang kita patut banggakan, sebabkan we are considered, as you mentioned, like one of the best, and I think it's an amazing thing that you did to increase the accessibility to this, so that my childhood just doesn't become something yang kita tinggalkan pada zaman dulu. Zaman-zaman I membesar dan sekarang budak-budak pun ada akses yang sama.
Betul.
So really, really awesome thing. Was it a difficult decision to come to? Was it like, was it something because of the support from KBS? It was quite smooth.
Yeah, well, support from KBS, support from Ministry of Finance, and also support from you know, the various stakeholders that we have lah.
Of course.
But when you ask about whether it's hard or not, to me it's not hard. It's a no-brainer, right? To me, the circuit should be kalau boleh lah, kalau I mampu, I nak semua orang dekat Malaysia ni, rakyat Malaysia datang ke Sepang, at least experience once, right? Kalau you tak suka pun, at least you dah pernah datang dekat situ.
Yeah.
Right, because like what you said, right, dia ni projek SIC ni sama macam Twin Towers, KLIA, Putrajaya, and so on. Those were the projects back then yang you know, the previous Prime Minister buat untuk menjenamakan Malaysia di seluruh dunia lah. So Sepang Circuit branded Malaysia. Kalau orang dengar pasal Sepang, you go anywhere around the world, you talk about Sepang, they will remember Sepang Circuit. Because the brand association.
This is true.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of tough questions for you though, about the branding of Sepang Circuit. And something that I pun mentioned earlier, which was a part of my formative childhood, and I rasa ramai orang Malaysia nak tahu mungkin pendapat you terhadap benda ni. And from my own personal experience of growing up watching F1 specifically at Sepang, I think that was kind of a big part of branding SIC juga. And it's a shame that Malaysia no longer has SIC, and we know that YB has mentioned, like, it is a very, 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 very expensive thing to host. Do you think that this is something maybe yang boleh diwujudkan lagi? Because I also noted that YB Hana had mentioned that kalau ada corporate sponsors yang berminat untuk bekerjasama ataupun untuk find a way to finance it, that it's something that, you know, you guys would be open to explore.
Ada two parts of it lah.
Okay, I would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, okay. The first part is the funding.
Yeah.
Funding, I think YB Hana is clear that at the moment the government will not, you know, enter into this agreement dengan Formula 1 because of the high cost.
Yes.
Right. Tetapi YB ada mention juga, kalau ada syarikat kat luar tu yang berminat untuk foot the bill or share the bill and everything, we are open for discussion. That's the first part of it lah. The second part of it is whether there's any slot available in the calendar, right? So, katakanlah dalam masa terdekat ataupun in the future nanti, ada some funder yang nak masuk, nak buat balik Formula 1 ni, right? Akan tetapi tak ada slot dalam calendar pun tak boleh juga. So, these two things, right? And then, at the moment, what I found out from Formula 1 is there's a lot of countries out there yang tengah queue nak masuk into the calendar. So it's not an easy thing to do, but if there's a will, there's always a way, right? I'm always positive about this, but at the moment, if the question were to ask to me whether Formula would come back, at the moment jawapannya tak. Jawapannya bukan masa sekarang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're able to answer, just like in your personal opinion, is this something you would want?
I would want Formula 1 to come back. But looking at the two factors just now, right? I think that one we should answer first. But the most important thing is, beyond these two factors, again, why? What's the purpose?
So good question.
Yeah, why do we, okay, I mean, we have to answer lah. Kalau ada pun jadilah dua-dua ni, yang jadi untuk ni. Why do we want Formula 1 back? Is it because kita nak glamour, ataupun kita nak semua orang tahu yang wow, okay, F1 is back to Malaysia, ataupun kita nak F1 datang untuk ceriakan balik keadaan di Sepang, right? Ataupun kita nak F1 ni jadi satu instrumen ataupun platform untuk kembangkan lagi ekonomi kat Malaysia. Sebab a lot of countries yang buat Formula 1 ni, bukan dia orang setakat buat Formula 1 saja, perlumbaan saja. Say for example, you take for example Singapore.
Concert. Fireworks.
Right? Fireworks and so on. But then again, behind the fireworks, behind the show, Formula 1 ni semua, right? There's a lot of business discussion behind it. So, the way Singapore hosts Formula 1 ni, actually, there's a lot of platform. Sekarang ni, dia orang dah brandkan Formula 1 ni macam the Davos of the sports itself, right? So there's a lot of decision makers yang datang dekat Singapore untuk bincangkan benda-benda lain selain daripada the sport itself. Investor yang datang masuk semua, right? So actually sepatutnya apa yang kita buat daripada dulu, right, ialah gunakan platform Formula 1 ni ataupun apa yang kita ada bawa ni untuk jadikan platform ni sebagai satu medium untuk investor masuk, untuk the decision makers datang ke Malaysia untuk bincang benda-benda ni. And to me, Formula 1, concert, fireworks is just the dessert in the whole menu, right? That's my view.
That's an interesting way of putting it. That's actually brilliant in the sense that dia macam, it simplifies it, right? Like when you ask like, why do we want Formula 1 back? Mungkin, from my perspective, and again, we can feel free to let me know if you don't want this ad, right? But I would say that it's because of the way that Singapore has executed it. It's not so much about the Formula 1. It's about the fanfare around it. Yang itu yang menaikkan all of the sales in terms of tourism, the economic growth that Singapore has experienced, kan? Tapi for example, we always look, sometimes the mistake that we make is we look to things that we don't have and we're like, oh, we had that, we could recreate that opportunity, but we could easily do the same thing for MotoGP, hypothetically.
Yes.
Right?
Betul.
Do you think that's something that's possible?
That's possible. Cumanya MotoGP ni, kalau kita compare dengan Formula 1, MotoGP ni is more towards the sport itself and also ni. Tapi tak mustahil MotoGP juga boleh jadi platform for this to happen dekat Malaysia. Because kita punya platform dekat MotoGP ni actually tak lagi jauh pun daripada Formula 1. Kita ada hospitality, kita ada the grandstand area and so on. Tapi the stature that Formula 1 bawa kepada satu country ni is actually lebih atas lah as compared to MotoGP. Itu saja dia punya perbezaan dia.
Faham.
Yeah.
So untuk masyarakat Malaysia, what can we do to support the growth of motorsports of Sepang? And also to maybe, because I know that, benda-benda yang dah ditetapkan seperti, okay, 4-wheel competitive racing versus 2-wheel competitive racing and the connotations about that socially, kita tak boleh nak ubah. Tapi we can generate excitement around whatever it is that we choose to create excitement around. So as the audience yang sebenarnya di mana kita pergi ataupun perhatian kita pergi, itulah akan membawa growth dalam mana-mana sektor juga. What can we do to support?
Okay.
Right?
As spectator ataupun someone yang boleh buat changes to the sport, right? First thing that we need to do, we need to come to the event.
Of course lah.
Kita kena support lah event
I
tu
pergi
kan.
MotoGP.
Yes, kena pergi lah MotoGP. And without the support from everyone, right? Kalau lah kita buat lagi MotoGP tahun depan ataupun tahun-tahun masa yang akan datang, right? Tapi kalau seat semua kosong, right? Then government akan decide, okay lah, tak payahlah kita buat. That's what happened to Formula 1. Actually, kita ada Formula 1, kita ada platform yang bagus, yang sangat bagus, tapi tak ada orang datang. And we were like, okay, maybe our promotion was not so good at that point of time. Maybe kita tak buat yang terbaik untuk nak promokan tu. But then again, everyone must understand that this is a business. Ini satu perniagaan yang kita buat, right? Tapi kalau tak ada support, kalau tak ada sambutan daripada spectator ni yang datang nak tengok ni semua, satu hari nanti mungkin akan jadi macam tu lah. Kerajaan akan cakap, okey lah, tak apalah, kita dah capai apa yang kita nak capai. Kenapa kita perlu bayar berjuta-juta ringgit untuk bawa MotoGP ni masuk? Seat semua tak penuh, right? Tak ada support apa semua. So let's stop MotoGP and then let's move on to other things.
Soalan wakili generasi digital, boleh ke kalau kita contohnya macam live stream it untuk mendapatkan views yang tinggi, untuk menarik sponsorship, untuk mengekalkan the economics of hosting MotoGP. Is that a possibility? Does that already happen? I don't know, because I watched it in person. So
I think it's a possibility. The viewership on TV ataupun live feed apa semua boleh jadi satu medium yang baru untuk orang follow semua, right? Cumanya bila you pergi ke sana, macam you environment tu you tak ada dekat situ lah.
Faham.
So that's the part yang I rasa sekarang ni macam all the other sport is suffering also lah. Macam bola for example, right? Alangkah bestnya kalau you tengok bola dan stadium tu penuh dengan orang, sorak apa semua, berbanding dengan kalau you pergi tengok match tu macam kosong match tu kan.
Betul, dia lain.
So dia punya perspektif kat situ memang a bit different lah. Kalau you pergi tengok football match yang penuh dengan orang kat dalam stadium, ataupun you pergi tengok football match yang tak ada orang dalam stadium tu, dia punya suasana
dia agak scary kan, sebab kita nampak dalam semua sudut live, tak kisahlah sports ke apa ke, that physical presence tu dah makin kurang disebabkan kita punya digital age ni makin rampant. So is it something that we should be fighting against or embracing in that sense, right? Sebab I agree with you, by the way, completely and totally. That's why I went to MotoGP and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Dapat rasa orang jerit kat sini. And dari apa yang I nampak kan, it was packed. It was full. Macam nak masuk, nak keluar tu, you could feel the energy. Which, but for me, sangat best. But it is true that we are moving towards a more digital age. And I wonder, do you think that there's a possibility that one day in the future it's all just like watched online?
Well, it could be that, but you know, there's nothing like going to a sports punya, you know, physically, right? It's a totally different punya
pengalaman.
Pengalaman altogether. I mean, ramai mungkin akan complain, apalah nak pergi sana, jam lah, nak masuk sesak lah, panas lah, nak makan pun susah lah sana kan. So a lot of things. You can complain about so many things, right? But the experience going there, right? You look back the experience, right? You pergi dengan kawan-kawan you ataupun you pergi dengan your parents apa semua. These are the pengalaman ataupun memories yang kita tak boleh dapat kalau kita, you know, when we go to digital punya ni lah.
Betul, sebab I rasa macam, okay, for example, my pengalaman pergi tengok F1 dulu dekat SIC kan. What I remember is not so much like siapa yang menang tahun tu, tak ingat langsung. Tapi moment tu yang I dapat experience dengan my dad at that time, right? Which is, contoh nak bandingkan dengan sekarang kan. If I were to hypothetically tengok MotoGP dekat SIC on my phone, it's a very individualistic experience.
Betul.
I takkan ingat I tengok benda tu dengan siapa. I dengan phone I je. So the sense of community tu hilang kan. And maybe that would be a huge disservice to sports specifically. Betul, interesting. Okay, so anyways, kita moving on to women in motorsports, because that's ultimately one of the biggest chapters that I wanted to talk to you about. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this, sebab I rasa macam women in sports in general, kadang-kadang there's a lot of issues that they have to face that mungkin men in sports don't have to. Dari segi the stigma of expecting sports to be something that is more physical and therefore more geared towards men. And also motorsports is considered a very dangerous sport. So is there anything that you've noticed daripada seorang yang wujud kat dalam dunia motorsports ni yang akan break the barrier for women out there, ataupun especially budak-budak kat luar sana yang nak sebenarnya try tapi takut, misinformation? What would you say?
Well, the first thing lah, dekat grassroots punya level kan. My observation yang bawa minat ni kepada the sport itself, motorsport itself, is actually the parents. Ibu bapa lah, right? So banyak yang I tengok, kalau kita tengok the grassroots punya development dekat mana-mana lah, tak semestinya SSC banyak parents yang bawa anak-anak dia datang for go-karting, for push bike, for, you know, all the grassroots punya level lah. Both 4 wheels dengan 2 wheels, right? So minat tu mungkin boleh datang daripada the youth itself, ataupun budak-budak yang datang nak berkecimpung dalam bidang motorsport ni. Cumanya the push for youth, whether it be boys or girls, right, will come from the parents. Most of the parents sekarang ni will not want their kids to go into motorsports. Why? Again, the soalan yang kenapa tu lah. Kenapa? Satu, sebab dia berbahaya. Motorsport is dangerous. That we cannot,
tak boleh dinafikan
lah, motorsport is dangerous. Number 2, it's expensive, mahal untuk masuk motorsport ni, right? You have to spend so much untuk nak beli tayar lah, nak beli suit lah, nak beli ni lah, apa semua lah. So all the punya equipment tu memang kalau bandingkan dengan bola ke badminton, barrier to entry tu lagi tinggi untuk masuk motorsports. Number 3, platform-platform yang kita ada dekat Malaysia ni. Kita ada banyak all these grassroots event organisers yang buat this go-kart, even the association itself, Malaysian MAM, banyak buat program-program untuk arrive and drive semua kan. Tapi for the parents and for the kids to come and test, I think should be no problem, right? Cuma what's next? What's the next step, right? Apa yang daripada okay, so I go into go-kart, I'm good at it. What do I do next, right? So the platform daripada bawah tu sampai atas, so actually dah ada platform tu. And for 2 wheels, typically for SSC, memang dah ada step tu daripada bawah. Kita start dekat mini GP main level, and then we go on to the Asian punya side of things, and then we go to Europe, and then you go to the world punya ni. Memang step tu dah ada dalam kita punya ni. For 4-wheel pun dah ada actually dia punya ladder tu. Cuma from one stage to the other stage tu, dia punya budget dia mahal untuk nak ni. So kalau tak ada support daripada parents, tak ada support daripada government to a certain extent, but the most important, tak ada support daripada corporate untuk nak bawa this talented youth that we have. I tell you, we have a lot of talents yang bagus. Both daripada 4 roda dan 2 roda. Ramai yang bagus. Tapi semuanya terkandas sebab tak ada budget untuk, ataupun tak ada support, financial support untuk naik ke the next step and everything, right? I've seen a lot of talents in my years in motorsports, right? Very talented tapi sayang tak ada financial support ataupun terkandas along the way because there's no proper platform to push and so on, right? So banyak yang actually kalau boleh ulang balik, kalau boleh repeat balik, kalau kita ada financial support yang kuat, sebab kita all this while kita bergantung pada government, right? Banyak talent-talent yang kat luar seperti di Italy, seperti di Spain dan semua, most of them, the first part of it, parents gadai rumah untuk masuk ke dalam motorsports. Parents gadai tanah untuk nak bagi anak-anak ni because they know there's a future in motorsports, right? If you tengok balik perjalanan Lewis Hamilton, perjalanan Marc Marquez semua ni, they all started macam dekat sini, susah. Their parents were not wealthy, right? But they were talented and they were lucky along the way lah, right? So my perspective is, kalau kita nak, banyak aspek yang kita kena tengok kat situ lah, bukan takat platform aja. Dari segi dia punya bantuan kewangan tu lah yang paling penting lah.
I've noticed that as well. That a lot of people cakap macam kalau walaupun dia jadi professional macam mana pun, for example, like a really incredible female racer, Leona, right? She just recently had to pull out of a competition sebab tak dapat sponsorship.
Betul.
So and she qualified. So she's good enough.
Yes.
But it's the sponsorship kind of that holds us back. Is there anything that you think macam, I don't know, like we could like do, like how is this inevitable, like sentiasa akan wujud macam ni ke? Is there something we can do?
Well, it's a tough one to me. Being in the sport itself, all this while we've been relying on government funds,
of course,
right? This cannot go on forever. The governments have a lot of other things to look after, right? What that should happen in the future is there should be some sort like incentive kepada pihak corporate untuk masuk and sponsor these talents macam Leona, right? But in order for the corporate companies to come in, what is it for them, right? Apa yang dia dapat kalau dia masuk, right? Kalau dia sponsor what do they get back, right? One of the things that we're looking at is the tax relief. If they come in, right, and then they dapat tax relief to a certain extent, right? It could be 50%, it could be 1-to-1, and so on. But these are the things yang kita kena jual. We have to sell those things to the corporate companies. And I believe also the government is looking into it. Sekarang ni banyak macam tabung kawasan sekarang dekat KBS. If you donate, you can get one-to-one punya return and so on, right? So banyak actually kita kena keluar. There should be more salesmen yang keluar kat sana and then jual for all these corporate companies, right? I would love to create my own salesman. Pergi jumpa.
Yeah, which is your area of expertise.
Yeah, so it's all about selling. It's all about selling. It's all about telling the companies what are the benefits. I'm pretty sure a lot of companies will reject. I'm pretty sure a lot of companies will say no. Right? I'm pretty sure a lot of companies, why should I support motorsports? Right? What do I get out of this and everything? I'm pretty sure they will say this. But if we have enough people to go out there and sell, all these benefits. Kalau you sponsor, you dapat certain things in return. I'm pretty sure we can do it. Yeah.
But I also think that, okay, just wanted to ask you juga your opinion on this, right? Like as a masyarakat, I'm not a company. I cannot sponsor any athlete out there. I'm busy sponsoring my rent, every month. Tapi apa yang I belajar lah, sebab I kind of work in relatively marketing juga, entertainment, media, marketing, semua berkait. What I know is that consumers have actually a lot more power than we give ourselves. So do you think it would make a huge difference in terms of how to sell this to a commercial corporate company if there is attention already, so at least it can be counted as a marketing expense for them, and this comes from us as the masyarakat coming and supporting?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that will work, because a lot of times when I was involved in sponsorship, right, the only thing that the number one thing that they look at is eyeballs.
Yes, correct.
Right, how many. I mean, if I give money to you, how much people are going to look at my brand, for example. But that is given in any sponsorship, right? So a lot of times companies, bila kita pergi kepada diorang, kita jual the branding side of things, those yang tahulah, yang tahu kata okay, branding, that one okay lah, branding is given, right? What else can you give me, right? Most of the time companies kat luar sana tak faham yang actually bila you beli an IP like a sponsorship for motorsport ni, you macam beli rumah, right? Tapi bila you beli rumah, you don't expect, kalau you nak buat kenduri ke, kalau you nak buat birthday party ke, you nak buat akikah ke, apa semua ke, it doesn't come with that price, right? You have to spend, right? That is called activation. You need to activate the sponsorship, right? So bila kita pergi menjual this IP ni, we have to explain to them, okay, this is your house. Tapi kalau you nak orang datang kepada rumah you, nak tengok you punya brand apa semua,
buatlah open house. Itu benda lain pula.
Itu benda lain pula, right? So a lot of companies, bila dia orang beli the IP and everything, they expect everything to be in package. But it doesn't work that way. Boleh packagekan macam tu, cuma a lot of times they don't know apa yang perlu dibuat, right? So it's entirely up to the salesman untuk jual. Okay, you dah beli rumah ni, actually you boleh buat macam ni, you boleh buat birthday party, ataupun you boleh buat kenduri apa semua, right? Sama macam sponsorship. Bila you beli sponsorship, katakan you beli a sponsorship of a team, right? So you dah ada you punya brand atau bike ataupun kereta tu. So bila orang nampak, okay, they know your brand, but who are you, right? Brand you represent apa, kita tak kenal. So activation tu kena datang untuk introduce orang pada brand you, right? So bila you buat activation, itulah opportunity you untuk you jual produk you, right? So you datang and then you introduce lah your brand. You buat lah macam open house macam you cakap tadi kan. Introduce your brand, apa yang you buat apa semua, so that people get to know your brand, right? So that's how sponsorship actually work.
It's not just like macam, okay, one stop, you just throw money at the situation, then okay, where's my visibility kan?
Tak ada. And then asset you dapat dalam sponsorship tu apa sebenarnya? You dapat atlet. So atlet tu boleh bercakap-cakap, boleh berkata-kata pasal you punya brand. Apa yang nak dia cakap pasal you punya brand, right? So you have to use all the assets yang you ada tu untuk talk about your brand.
Interesting. Okay, I one of my final questions, right? We're almost at the end of the episode actually, sayangnya, because I've been enjoying this so much, right? Kalau lah budget tu is not an issue at all and you tak kena fikir at all, what would you do to kind of try to create some sort of activation as the venue, which is you're not a corporate, you're not anything, it's just as for the passion of the sport, what would be your first step?
Well, go crazy lah.
Yeah, right? I would imagine kan. Kalau budget tu tak ada issue.
Kalau budget tak ada issue, go crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, right? But then again, itulah berbalik pada that one question lah, you know, what is the purpose? Apa purpose you? Right? You nak buat itu untuk dapatkan apa, right? But most of the time, bila kita ada budget yang unlimited semua, we do things that actually tak ada purpose.
This is true juga.
Right?
Yeah.
And bila kita buat something yang tak ada purpose, macam end of the day, you dah buat penat-penat semua, and then you fikir balik, what actually yang I buat untuk yang ni kan? Apa actually yang I dah spend on this and everything. But if we are clear on the purpose itself, right? And we have unlimited budget and everything, we can go crazy. We can do a lot of things, right? What do you want to do? You want to touch the hearts of the youngsters? You want to get, you know, women to come into motorsports? You can. Boleh, right? So, when we are clear on the purpose itself, I think that's the most important thing. You know, unlimited budget ke, limited budget semua kan. It doesn't matter. But what matters is, apa yang you dapat at the end of the day. What is the outcome from apa yang you buat tu? Whether it's worth it or it's not worth it. Right? That's a question. But more importantly is, if you do something, make sure you have a clear purpose. Apa yang you nak buat.
Very, very interesting. Sebelum kita habis, final question. What is like the next steps for SIC? Anything that you can share with us dari segi perancangan untuk, mungkin sebab kita dah hujung-hujung tahun ni, 2026?
Yes.
Ada benda menarik yang kita boleh nantikan?
Okay. I would love to depict this one famous saying lah.
Okay.
You know, you can't do the same thing and expect different results.
Yeah, that's insanity, right?
That's insanity, right?
Yeah.
So, always, every year, right? I always challenge myself and the team itself, right? Kita dah buat benda ni dah bertahun-tahun lah. We are doing the same thing, right? End of the day, kita nak lebih. Kita nak ni semua, right? So, what else can we do? What is new, right? Because, itulah, most of the time bila I jump kerja, right? I'm bored, right? So, I need to find something yang
to entertain yourself.
Entertain myself and challenge myself, challenge the team and so on, right? So what's coming on the horizon? We have this one new product called the Driving Experience Center. Come one day.
I would love to.
Yeah, that project came about because actually apa yang kita belajar dekat driving school life punya experience bila you bawa and then you langgar puddle of water when you're speeding, right? You lose control of your car.
No, thank you lah. Tak nak mengalami benda tu.
What do you do?
Panic,
right?
Lepaskan the steering wheel. Scream.
Yeah, so third brake light third brake light kan keluar opocot, you know, alamak, right? So all this word yang third brake light ni akan keluar, right? So the Driving Experience Center is actually is a purpose built punya facility untuk kita ajar macam mana nak control the car
dalam keadaan macam tu,
dalam keadaan kecemasan, right? So ada satu part of the Driving Experience Center tu yang you lalu, dia ada satu orifice, dia akan buangkan tayar belakang you ke atas satu permukaan yang licin and you will lose control of your car, and instructor akan ajar balik macam mana you nak stabilize balik.
You look so excited about losing control of the car. Tak pernah nampak sebelum ni. Wow, that's actually so interesting.
Yes, dia boleh simulate the road condition and the instructor akan ajar you macam mana nak control balik kereta. These are the things that you don't learn when you go to driving school.
This is true.
Right?
Dan mungkin dia akan menambahkan confidence.
Yes, confidence. And then we have a 1.5 kilometer circuit, handling circuit.
Wow.
How do you control, macam mana you ambil corner apa semua. So instructor akan ajar semua ni lah. I would love to invite you one of these days.
Yeah, I would love to come.
To try it out. And I think it's one of the things yang kita nak buat better. Actually, facility ni dah ada setahun, this year and last year. We opened the facility towards the end of last year, so it's picking up.
Amazing.
And hopefully we can do we can have more people to come over, corporate companies, drivers like you and I, belajar macam mana nak control kereta semua, because it's really important. Then the purpose itself is to reduce the road accident.
Yes, of course.
Kat sini kan.
Yeah.
So that's new. The other part that I'm really, really interested in is we are about to sign a very long lease agreement dengan Malaysia Airports untuk tanah.
Amazing.
the tanah that we have.
Yes.
We have about 750 acres of land dekat situ. Kita dah pakai lebih kurang dalam almost 50%. We have another 50% to be used. We have developed a new SIC master plan for the next 5-10 years that I would love to share one of these days.
Okay, fabulous.
Right? And we're going to build a lot of interesting things
so interesting.
on the land. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The most recent, actually, speaking of which, the most recent I was at SIC, no, it was MotoGP, salah. Tapi sebelum tu, not too long ago, maybe like a month or two ago, I was there for a Malaysian Airports event where we drove around the circuit in one of the cars that they had.
Right.
So yeah, what an incredible partnership. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Which is your expertise, this is your kacang lah, partnerships and so on.
Yeah, but I think, you know, the trust comes with it lah, you know.
Fantastic.
The brand itself, our brand is quite strong. I hope that, you know, we can bring in more partnerships to Sepang because actually Sepang ni is like, you know, it's like a lady. Kalau dia bersolek tu memang cantik tempat dia. Bila I cakap bersolek, there's a lot of things going on there.
Means like a lot of benda yang kita boleh develop dekat situ.
Yes.
Betul?
And I think SIC is pretty as it is right now.
Yes.
But can be much prettier if we have, you know, all the other things lined up there. Especially yang what's missing there right now is F&B lah. Tempat makan lah. I love food. I love to eat. So yeah.
Right. There's like, I know that when I go for MotoGP, it's all the temporary gerai again. So you're talking about long-term tenancy.
Long-term tenancy. I would love to have, you know, a food court dekat situ.
Oh, menarik.
Right? You have Japanese, you have mamak. Mamak pun tak ada kat situ. So we need to have a mamak shop.
Very
kita
interesting.
boleh, you know, lepak kat situ. Because people that go there and everything are families, right? So kalau lah katakan the father, the boyfriends, you know, the girls and so on, the moms yang into the sport itself, where do you send the other part of your family, right? Where do they hang out? There's no place to hang out there, right? So we need to have a hangout place. We need to have a chillax place dekat situ.
It would be so cool. Like imagine on like a weekend morning or something. If you have a family, like you wake up early, you take a drive to Sepang, you do your little like walk around Sepang, for example.
Yep.
Then you have some brunch. Maybe ada shopping sikit.
Yes.
Then balik lah. Then it's a family outing day kan.
But the nearest part dekat situ is Mitsui, and also if you go to the back is Handstack.
Exactly.
Adalah tempat-tempat makan kat situ, right? Tapi in the area itself, tak ada tempat hangout, tak ada tempat chill. We have a lot of cyclists yang datang kat situ hujung minggu. People cycle and go there. We have lah, kita ada satu tempat ni, it's called Lakeside punya cafe. It's quite nice. But itu pun kadang-kadang it's too busy, too cramped. Sebab that's the only place to hang out.
So needs to be expanded on more lah.
Yes.
All the way. Sounds like a big year ahead for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully, yep.
With any luck, kita suka busy kan?
Yes.
Okay, so sebelum kita habiskan kita punya episode, we do have a rapid fire section. And this is like the real hard-hitting questions. I belum start like, this is the spicy stuff, okay?
Shoot.
What time do you usually wake up?
6.
Because I heard, this is why they say, if you want to be CEO, you must wake up.
6. Of course, I hope that tiap pagi I selalunya terlepas subuh. So I hope I can be better at that. Right?
Is it in the CEO manual? Kalau nak jadi CEO, memang nak kena bangun sebelum pukul 8.
Well, actually early morning is good lah. Sometimes, you know, the orang yang pandai-pandai ni actually dia bangun pukul 4 pagi. Betul. Orang yang bangun ni pukul 4 pagi. Sebab 4 pagi ni is actually the time between 4 pagi dengan subuh tu is the time when you reflect. And when you have peace and, you know, harmony in your life that you tak kena kacau orang lain. Right?
Tak apa kot. Saya rela jadi bodoh. That's crazy.
Yes.
Yelah betul lah. I mean tak ada orang kacau, tapi do not disturb pun function. Maybe hanya CEO ada orang kacau sebanyak itu.
Right.
Oh my god, that's wild. The discipline, right? Okay, favourite show that you're watching at this moment?
Favourite show? I just watch Stick on Apple TV.
Stick?
Yeah, it's quite good actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's about a golfer.
Okay.
Retired golfer. Found a new boy yang memang very good at golf. Right? So you have to watch it.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll take a look.
Spoil
Okay.
the series to you.
Bye.
Yeah.
The next one. Favourite sport other than motorsports?
Favourite sport? I would say football. For me, I used to play football a lot, but now I'm into pickleball. Yeah.
I have a pickleball center recommendation.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll tell you after this episode. Kalau tak, dia jadi very shameless.
But I'm not good at pickleball. I need to learn.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay, yang tu kita bincang kemudian. Okay, next. Biggest risk you feel like you took in your career, and why was it important that you did it?
That's a tough one. I think
tak rapid sangat lah tu kan.
Yeah. Well, I think my jump from Petronas to this role right now lah. That's the biggest risk I ever taken in my career lah.
Yeah.
If you talk about career, right?
Yeah.
Because to lose job, like permanent job in Petronas and go into this contract. Every year my contract, every 2 years my contract is being renewed. So tak tahulah my contract is ending.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be renewed. Tapi kalau tak renew, what do I do? Right? So kat situ lah ada uncertainty sikit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why was it important that you took this risk?
I want to challenge myself, right? Because hidup ni kalau tak ada kegusaran, tak ada kerisauan, macam boring kan? So kena ada edgy punya ni sikit lah. So itulah that part lah. That's how I view it lah. I don't know.
The mindset of a CEO. Wake up at 4 and take risks.
Yeah. Itu orang lain, bukan I yang wake up at 4. I still wake up at 6.
Wake up at 6 is...
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there, but still, I wish I can. Because I tidur lambat, so I need sleep. Yeah. Health is important. Do workout and do have a good rest. You kena tidur. Betul-betul kena tidur. You have to have a good rest every day. Kalau tak,
Yeah, very important. Okay.
Cepat tua.
Okay. What is the most important, and this is a final question, most important lesson or advice that you pernah dapat in your life, and who gave it to you?
Interesting. No one gave this to me, but you have to live your life, right, to the fullest, right? Don't be afraid of not taking chances. Don't question yourself. Why didn't I do it? Of course, sometimes kita question lah, kenapa? Why should I do it? Should I do it or should I not? Right? There's a lot of questions. But to me, right, just do it lah. Right? Jangan risau if you fail. If you fail, bangun balik, buat balik. If you fail so many times, just learn through your failure and belajar daripada situ to be better. Right? So probably the most important life lesson, don't be afraid of failure. I can say.
I like that we're ending on that note. Sebelum kita habis, do you have anything that you would like to say to the audience before we close shop?
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Studio Sembang. Thank you again.
Thank you
for having me here. Kena buat marketing lah sikit kot kan for next year kan. We are selling our MotoGP ticket right now. Sekarang ni ada early bird punya promotion sampai hujung bulan ni, 30%. So siapa yang nak beli tiket tu bolehlah ke laman sawang kami di www.sepangscircuit.com untuk dapatkan tiket tu. And hopefully to see all of you dekat Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia tahun depan. Let's make the event much more livelier daripada tahun ni. I know this year memang banyak isu, banyak accident kat semua. Tapi what I would love to see is semua orang penuhkan seat dekat SIC, and kita tunjuk kat semua orang yang actually Malaysia is actually one of the country yang people look up to when it comes to motorsports. Right? Yeah.
Saya setuju. Dan kalau saya ada nak tambah, kita jangan lupa ini adalah milik kita sebagai warga negara Malaysia. Jadi kita patut bagi sokongan yang sepenuhnya kepada apa yang kita ada. Thank you so much meluangkan masa bersama kami.
Thank you.
I enjoyed this episode so much.
Right.
Dan kami harap you guys dekat rumah pun enjoy dan banyak belajar daripada episod kita hari ini. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dan kita akan jumpa next week same time same place macam biasa. Okay, bye.